speaking of dangerous cults, this cult that we're going to talk about on the first story is probably one of the dumbest cults I've ever heard of. Now, the term cult may not be a fair signifier because it's not necessarily like a church you go to and you all have to wear the same sneakers and shave the left side of your head and pierce your right pinky. It's not like that. It's more of a lifestyle, but it's so incredibly dangerous that... So I'm at a loss for words. So what it is it goes under a couple different names. One is breatharianism, or the second one is sungazing. Now, they're both fairly related. So, but what we're going to focus here on is the sungazing aspect. So what this cult believes is that your pineal gland in your brain, it has to be opened up for your chakra power to give you magnetic light or whatever like that. And through evolution and bad living practices, our pineal gland has become calcified. People say fluoride does that too. But anyways, so your pineal, which basically cuts you off from the universe. So how do you fix your pineal gland? Either 45 minutes before the sun rises, or 45 minutes as the sun is rising, or 45 minutes as the sun is setting. You got to stare at the sun. You got to stare directly at the sun. But I know what you're thinking, Jason, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But that's because you didn't let me finish. Because you don't stare at the sun for 45 minutes. You stare at the sun for 10 seconds. And then the next day, you stare at the sun for 20 seconds. And then the day after that, you stare at the sun for 30 seconds. Until eventually you build up your eye muscles. This is the Rocky of eye muscles. They're running up the solar stairs and they're like doing a little dance. After doing this over and over, and maybe it's 10 seconds every week, but anyways, you add 10 seconds to it each time, and so you will be able to stare directly at the sun for 45 minutes straight. Now, it's very clear on all their websites, do not stare at the sun for more than 45 minutes, because that might cause eye damage. But you can stare up to the sun up to 45 minutes, and you can only look at the sun as it's rising and it's setting, because that's when the UV rays are the least damaging. I'm not making that claim. That's their claim. But anyways, so you go out, you look at the sun for 10 seconds, and then you stop. And you can do it for another 10 seconds, or, it's a cumulative thing. So you keep adding 10 seconds to it. Eventually you get to 45 minutes. And then at that point, you can't look at the sun anymore. Now you have to walk barefoot everywhere on dirt. Not grass, dirt. And because after staring at the sun for 45 minutes, like once you build up your eye muscles that much, your pineal gland has been completely opened up. And now you're not going to have any trouble at all, except for macular degeneration. And then to keep your pineal gland recharged, you just have to walk barefoot on dirt. Now, this is one of those weird cults that is completely incompatible with modern life, and I think that might be the allure of some cults. But I mean, if you're a businessman and you're like, you know what, I have everything. I have a beautiful wife, I have kids, I have this great job. The one thing I don't have is an uncalcified pineal gland. Okay, and you do that whole thing, but now are you going to put sand everywhere in your building? Like, are you going to go golfing and just mow up all the grass? Like, it's just completely incompatible with human life. At least, some of the religious cults out there, you can go about your normal day and just pray to some wacky god. This one, you kind of have to change your whole life. But anyways, so a couple of the things that are going on is that by the time you can get up to the 45 minutes, the claims of the cults is that you don't even have to eat anymore. That's how crazy good the sun's power are. You don't have to eat anymore. You can literally absorb all the nutrients you need from the sun and from the dirt on the bottom of your feet. So that's where the breatharianism comes in. So the breatharianism, they use sungazing. This is all based on like India, like basically like Americans or Europeans going to India, getting high, and then coming back and making stuff up. And usually change their name to some sort of Indian name. India, not Native American India. So anyways, you go to this point, your pineal gland is like completely open, you can absorb sunlight instead of eating food, and you don't have to, I think you don't have to drink water but they sometimes do, just for in social situations, they'll drink like milk, which was actually a good out, because then if you're ever really hungry, you're like, hey, dude, you're calling up all your friends. Hey, it's Sungazing Johnny. Yeah, it's me. Hey, do you want to go to Hooters? Just for a social event. I'm not breaking my religious practice. It's a social event. But anyway, so of course, when you make such dangerous claims, people are going to start debunking them. And so a lot of scientists and researchers have said, oh, that's your claim. That's great. Let's put it to a test. Now, in India, they said, oh, this guy went 441 days without eating, and it was done under rigorous experiments, but whenever they've tried replicating the tests anywhere else, under circumstances determined by the researcher, it always fails, like within a weekend, or a week, at tops. This news report was trying to test one of the biggest proponents of this belief. I think she barely made it a week before a doctor was like, you got to cut this, she's about to die. And the woman's like, I'm fine. And she's like super dehydrated. And then first she was saying, oh, the hotel room you put me in has black mold. It's unpurified air. This isn't going to work. So the researchers took her to the middle of nowhere in a cabin with beautiful spring mountain air. And shit still didn't work. She was still horribly dehydrated. What's funny is so it's... First off, it's incredibly dangerous. Please don't do it. Secondly, it's never been tested outside of that group. And again, if a Christian goes, oh, when you die, your soul goes to heaven, and you go see your grandma and your grandpa and stuff like that, that can't be tested, and that's not physically damaging anyone. So, I mean, people could go, ha, you're lying, and other people go, well, no, I believe that that's true. And then that's kind of the end of it. But if someone's making a claim, you can stare at the sun for 45 minutes, it's not going to hurt you, and you'll never have to eat again. That's a claim that will impact your life here. It will physically hurt you here. So that's why people, I think, have been more adamant about disproving this stuff. People have starved to death doing this plan, obviously. I thought it was funny. I was looking over the pro-sun gazing websites, and they were talking about their own research they had done about sun gazing. I found this little nugget. The number of people who reported a decreased need for solid food was approximately equal to the number of people who reported no significant change in the need for food. And they're using that as like, oh, look it. See, it kind of works, because we brought 50 people into this room, and half of them said, I'm good with not having any more food. And the other half goes, nah, it didn't help me at all. That's called a placebo effect. And what's the time limit? Because if you did it just after brunch, some people are going to be, oh, I'm so hungry. And then other people are going to be like, nah, I can wait till dinner. What's funny, though, is that it said only one person in the study reported an increased need for food. And I'm like, that, Homer Simpson. I can just imagine a bunch of like normal humans in there, and then yellow-skinned Homer Simpson standing in the corner. Who looks at the sun and gets hungrier? Who stares at the sun and wants more food than they had before they stared at the sun? Not many people. So this cult is still very active. I have found more articles talking about the benefits of this than I found debunking this, because it's still fairly underground. I think it's more prevalent in India, obviously, and then is in Europe. It's not so prevalent here. People have made attempts to debunk it, but there's more say, no, this will help open up your sixth eye or your third eye and your sixth chakra and make you connected to the universe. And yeah, because you're going to be blind and the rest of your senses are being heightened. I don't know. I wonder how these people work during the eclipse, too. I wonder if they're like, dude, I got my 45 minutes in. I can totally stare at this eclipse. Nuts. And I mean, I just don't get how theories like this evolve and how they came up with the 45-minute window, because did they have a bunch of monks go blind and then they're like, hey, how long did you look at the sun for? I looked at it for 46 minutes. So, whatever. Don't do this. And if you happen to know anyone who's sun gazing, please buy them a pair of blue blockers. Do they still make those? That was a clip from our daily podcast, Dead Rabbit Radio. Dead Rabbit Radio is available anywhere that you listen to podcasts. It's daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime news. If you want to hear the full episode that this clip came from, check the link below. Please like and subscribe. And hit that little bell, too. That does some magical stuff. Thanks, guys.